you're a home buyer, somebody or a young person looking to buy a home, you need a bit of a reset.
There is a possibility on the other side of this that inflation could actually be quite low.
Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is going to be absolutely bonkers. Now, the data is in, and we have, according to Fortune magazine, 9 million homes about to hit the market. Again, you read the title right. According to them, and they're going to explain how, and they're going to explain why we are fixing to get, over the next few years, 9 million additional homes hitting the market. And it's no question what will happen if we have a 9 million additional homes. You guys, one of the primary reasons that home prices are so high and have not gone down on average across the whole nation is because we haven't had price discovery yet, because the housing market has been essentially, in so many words, frozen. So what happens then, if you ask yourself these questions based on the laws of supply and demand, what happens when we get just a little bit more inventory? Well, I think we know what happens. Prices will more than likely go down. So this video is especially important if you're on the sideline waiting to find a great deal. Now, the thing is, guys, and I tell my viewers this all the time and my members of Discord, some people in some markets can find a great deal right now. The problem is it's almost impossible. It is very, very difficult. It's possible, but it's very difficult. And when we enter crash-like territory, we are able to find great deals on the regular. So understand, you shouldn't just sit on the sideline. You should be educating yourself this whole time. You should be understanding we need to review subdivision, not Redfin data. You got to read subdivision, and some subdivision are still going up in prices, but other subdivisions are in distress. And so it's important to be able to tell which areas are doing well and which areas are not. But the thing is we all areas need more inventory, but affordable inventory. Let's move on. And do me a favor, you guys, report back in the comment sections what you're seeing in your area. Do you guys see inventory growth? Do you see inventory going down? I really want to know what's going on in your area because, again, remember, we are a community. It's way more than just me. There's so many people help build our community. There are so many people helping one another. So I'm interested to get your intel, but please, you guys, do not forget, put the metro area. You know, a lot of people forget to put the metro, so please put the metro area. And if you do find value in these videos, if you find value in a community that's helping each other, please hit like, share the video, comment below, hit notifications, and please enjoy and learn. Now, before we dig into the article, let me show you where we're at with inventory, starting with new homes. Now, the new home market so far has been way different than existing. New home market is in the dumpsters. It is price declines like crazy. One primary reason that is I believe the reason is we've had a sustained 6 months of inventory, sustained from about February 2022 on. So we have had over now 2 years of over 6 months of supply for new homes. And that's why I believe we see 13 to 14% price declines for new homes, because there is so much supply when it comes to new homes. All right. However, when we look at the active unit count, housing inventory, active listing count in the United States for existing, we see we're still low. So we have about 665,000. I just also want to mention that that's almost twice as much as we were at our low. So prices were supported by such low inventory. Again, we're going to see prices go down so long as we sustain inventory. Now, I think all we need to be is at about 900,000 active units of existing, active, not counting pending. I'm saying active units, 900,000, we should be good. But either way, you guys, this has been going up. It has gone down over the last 2 reports. That's probably seasonality. We will probably start seeing this skyrocket. But right now, we are at 665,000 active units of homes, according to Fred economic data for the month of January. In other words, that's very, very low from a historical standpoint. But from an unaffordability standpoint, we have plenty of inventory. If you want an unaffordable house, they're everywhere right now. Would you agree with that? Let's get into the article. Now, again, this is a Fortune article titled 9 million homes will come on the market in the next decade as baby boomers age, but the silver tsunami will be more of a tide, Freddie Mac says. So this is Freddie Mac. You guys, Freddie Mac is saying, hey, over the next 10 years, there's going to be a whole bunch of boomers that start listing their house. You guys, Freddie Mac is like the real mortgage lender. right? They're the real lender. It's not Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo when it comes to mortgages. It's Freddie Mac. So they know a lot, and they're warning us over the next 10 years. There's going to be a ton more inventory hit the market from boomers alone. They're not even talking about recession. They're not even talking about like any type of forced selling as a result of unemployment from recession. They're simply saying just boomers. That's it. Let's listen. After a wild ride during the pandemic, the housing market froze over the last year, which has been incredible to me. They literally froze the housing market. That's crazy. Never experienced that before. Total home sales fell to their lowest level since 2011, and in some reports since 1995, mostly because existing home sales plummeted to a nearly 30-year low. Okay, so they're saying lowest level, but they're including new homes. When we only look at existing home sales, guys, that is a 30-year low. But when we add new homes, that's a low, that's about a decade low, a little over a decade at 2013 levels. That's crazy, isn't it? That's simply not enough for sell inventory, but that's homes sold. We still have inventory anyways. But there's some hope from baby boomer households with a wave of downsizing and declining home ownership rates expected to bring more than 9 million homes onto the market in the next decade. So that's roughly what? So that's roughly 900,000 homes a year. So they're saying, again, just think about what they're saying. They're saying over the next 10 years, we're going to get 900,000 homes just from boomers. You guys, we sold less than 4 million homes last year. So if we get an extra 900,000 homes, that could be 25% more inventory from just boomers. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Let's jump back in. And again, this is according to Freddie Mac. Baby boomers are a big deal in the housing market, at least. Most either own their homes outright or are locked into low mortgage rates, and generally their properties are appreciating. In a housing market missing roughly 2 to 7 million homes, boomers are holding on to theirs because mortgage rates more than doubled during the past couple of years. But I also want to remind you guys, we have 15 million homes right now. So we have 15 million homes right now that are vacant. And I believe approximately 13 million of those are vacant year-round. Think about what I'm saying. So do we have a housing shortage, or do we have an affordable housing shortage for everyday consumers? Because we certainly have that, but we have plenty of overpriced houses. Some have warned of something called a silver tsunami. And anytime you guys hear silver tsunami, understand that that's talking about boomers aging and selling their house. So some have warned of a silver tsunami as aging boomers look to sell their homes, flooding the market with inventory, Freddie Mac report reads. But as the analysis demonstrates, the tsunami is more like a tide, bringing a gradual exit that will most likely be offset by new entrants. So they're saying that, still be careful. This may not crash prices because it really depends on demand. And hopefully demand will stay what it's at now. If the demand stays what it's at now, prices will go down with that much inventory. In other words, even as boomers vacate their homes in the coming decade, younger generations will continue to enter the housing market. The Urban Institute projects that 8.5 million new households will be created this decade and 7.6 million between 2030 and 2040, most of which will need homes. So total housing demand over the next few years is likely to continue to increase. None other than Meredith Whitney, deemed the Oracle of Wall Street, in November 2023, predicted that a silver tsunami of baby boomers would start downsizing this year in 2024 and in 2025. That's so interesting. She said 51% of people over the age of 50 are set to downsize to smaller homes. Interesting. Citing an AARP report at a Yahoo Finance Invest conference, this move would bring more than 30 million housing units to the market, she said. What happened to the 9 million? Now they're saying 30 million? My gosh, I'm going to be paying attention to this. She said a figure much higher than Freddie Mac's and at a pace much faster than the Mortgage Corporation projects. That's crazy. So she's saying 3 times more and much faster. Now, Whitney, who accurately predicted the 2008 financial crisis, also said this trend will be rate agnostic, meaning she expects the supply-demand shift to happen no matter what current market rates are, because older people have lower mortgage rates if any, mortgage at all. So the boomers aren't really affected by interest rates. That is incredible. So far, think about it. They're not affected by interest rates, so they can sell whenever. So that starts happening, according to this year. And she's saying it's going to be rapid. If it's over 10 years, she's basically saying 3 million a year. 30 million over 10 years is 3 million a year. Whoa. If that happens, oh my God. If that happens, then thank you, boomers, because you will have helped reset the housing market from the millennials' poor spending habits and all the institutional investors. So it's not just the millennials' poor spending habits. And when I say poor spending habits, I mean like fear of missing out, appraisal gaps, waiving your contingencies, buying real estate online. Those are bad things to do 99% of the time. Let's go back into the article. There were 69 million baby boomers, accounting for a whopping 38% of homeowner households as of 2022. And they clearly haven't made it easy for millennials. Sorry, millennials, but it is what it is. They made it very difficult for you to climb the homeownership ladder. But if boomers follow the patterns of previous generations, their homeownership rate will decline as they get older, particularly as they enter their late 70s. Freddie Mac predicted that the number of baby boomer households will fall gradually from around 32 million in 2022 to 23 million by 2035 as older boomers near their 90s. Very intriguing. Per this estimate, there will be 9.2 million fewer boomer households by 2035. The gradual decline is much more modest in the decade before it accelerates in the next, at which point the majority of boomers will be in their 70s and 80s. For instance, by 2028, Freddie Mac estimates there will only be 2.7 million homes freed up. Okay, so that's 4 years from now. So basically they're saying about 600,000 to 700,000 units per year, right? So, I'll take 700,000 units per year just from boomers. That would be a great deal of help. Comment below if you think, do you think that would be a great deal of hope? That apparently is starting right now. So let's see what happens. The whole silver tsunami is very interesting to me. In this sense, the silver tsunami is more like a tide with a gradual reduction phasing in over several years. While the number of people aging out of home ownership will increase in the coming years, it is more of an upward sloping trend than a disruptive spike. But there is a potential caveat. Home ownership retention rates have increased over time with longer life expectancies and healthier outcomes for older people. The average baby boomer is 67 years old, according to a research and consulting institution, and will live another 21 years. So taking that into account and using more recent retention rate rather than the historical average, the decline in boomer households will be closer to 1 million less. Now, unlike Whitney, other economists in line with Freddie Mac's reasoning believe the silver tsunami won't be much of a tsunami at all. Rather, it will take a decade or more for boomers to fully start downsizing, which the generational doesn't typically start doing until about the age of 80. He calls this the aging out process because the baby boomer generation includes people born between the mid-1940s and mid-1960s. We still have a way to go before all of them are ready to forego their current housing situation. So there's a mixed belief on what's going to happen. Isn't this very interesting to you? Baby boomers are staying in their homes longer. They're wealthier, they're healthier, they're able to stay in a place longer than generations past. And if that's true, then the cycle of large baby boomer generation aging out will happen, but not yet. Now, Fannie Mae released this report Thursday. They also suggested that baby boomers are content aging in place. Only 17% of older homeowners said that they sold their home or plan to during retirement. What's more is 62% of respondents said their goal is to leave their homes to their heirs. Man, that is amazing if you just inherited a house. That's actually sad as well, though, depending on the circumstances. Regardless of the pace of the silver tsunami or tide, it will not completely fix housing affordability for younger generations because home prices are already out of reach. I agree with that. And also, investing and capitalizing on the housing market is wrecking the younger generation, absolutely wrecking. While some baby boomers might move into retirement communities, others might opt for smaller homes, the same ones that younger generations want. That could continue to sideline millennials and younger generations and potentially drive up starter home prices further, not to mention that baby boomers have more cash on hand, so they'll be the ones to win out in a bidding war. And this concludes, there's a big overlap between select baby boomers and select millennials. A distributor of housing market data and consulting previously told Fortune the key difference here is that baby boomers will likely be able to tap home equity by selling their existing home, allowing them to perhaps make a more compelling offer on the home compared to the millennial, especially if the latter group are still renting. Let me know if you agree with that article as far as the baby boomers. I really don't like how the article ended. It seems like the great points, and then it just always leads to fear of missing out. It always leads you back to just buy right now, buy while you can, because it's going to be a rush of people. So, it was a little bit balanced, but again, I hate the fear of missing out, because the thing is this, you guys, this is why I hate the fear of missing out and I get so passionate sometimes. If the bulls are wrong, homeowners that purchased predominantly 2022 on can potentially lose everything. I know that because I lost everything and it took me 9 years to rebound and get everything back. If I'm wrong, which I'm already proven right in some metros, but overall, if I'm wrong, and if you're listening to me, if you're using the tools that I am providing to you, then now you have better credit, a better understanding of the housing market, and you know how to find a great deal. So if I'm wrong, you've empowered yourself and you can still go buy. If they're wrong, you can't buy because now you have a bankruptcy, foreclosure, and potentially a repo if the worst of the worst happens, right? You lose your job, you can't pay. So I think, again, you guys, just to reiterate this, we are at a rare time in history that caution is recommended. And we are at a rare time in history where some markets are clearly crashing and other markets are continuing to go up. It's very splintered. The housing market is a very tough read right now. And the reason predominantly that is, we haven't gone into recession. I think when we go into recession, it's not going to be as divided. And once we go into recession, we will finally have our price discovery. But anyways, guys, I don't think it's just going to be the boomers. I think it's going to be a combination of things, but I am interested to know what you feel. And other than that, I hope you guys got some new value, insights, and perspective. And if you're out there investing in real estate, you guys already know I wish you luck and I hope you win.